back to Chapters Create Character. I'm Legend Moore, and this is my mom,
Rakisha.
Today we're going to be reading Chapter 4 of A Whale of the Wild. Let's get started. Chapter 4, Gathering. I follow Aquila, not because I want to follow. I follow her because when I send out my clickstream as far as I can make it go, I do not see my family, not even a fleeting shadow of them. They could be anywhere. There are stories of younglings who got lost and even whole families who disappear and were never found again. I do not want to say that I'm frightened. Aquila would know Aquila would never leave her baby unless she knew how to find him again. But I do swim close enough to touch her. When I was younger, I was always measuring myself against my cousin. Height of fin, length of flipper. I was so eager to catch up. Today I am relieved to see her fin taller than mine. Glad I have time to grow. We swim side by side, flippers touching, playing our old game of seeing how long we can hold the connection. You know, Aquila says, we could be the first ones to find our Chinooks. They may be close, I say. The summer stars are in place. The kinship is gathering. Mountains mark the edge of the Salish Sea, like a great reef on the island. On the land, I mean. They have called the salmon out of the ocean for as long... They have called the salmon out of the ocean for as long as our kinship can remember. Nobody knows exactly how the mountains speak to the salmon. But every year, rains fall in their forests and rush down in rivers and streams, pushing great plumes of gray and turquoise water into the sea. Salmon hear that call and come home from the vast ocean, feeding us on the way. When seasons turn again, tiny salmon whoosh out of the rivers and streams, all speckled in silver like their parents. They hide in eelgrass prairies until they are big enough to swim out into the open ocean. And they vanish into the blue. Into the blue wilderness, where none of our kinship dares to go. But the mountains are faithful, and the seasons turn again. Rain falls, mountains call their salmon home, one big circle like the long dance we make with our whole family every salmon season. I savor the thought of being the first to find a run of salmon, not one fish, but a kinship of them as big as a storm cloud. I want to be the first to sink my teeth in, the first to share. I am hungry, not just for the feeding of a full belly. I'm hungry to know that our mountains have forgotten us. Hungry to know that our salmon have survived the blue wilderness and remember their way home. Aquila and I swim towards the setting sun. We sweep the sea with our click streams. We click louder when boats are near. A little farther, Aquila says carefully. We watch porpoises content themselves with a smelt and herring. We keep going. Below us, a gray whale is making its dull thunk call. As it scoops its boring food out of the muck on the sea bottom. And we keep going. Almost there, Aquila says, just as careful as before. Just as cheerful as before. Over here now, just beyond that sandbar, after the thing carrier passes, she is tenacious. Mommy, what does tenacious mean?
It's like when someone is holding fast to something. Mm-hmm. Like they're determined to do a task, whatever it is. And so like in the story so far, Aquila, from what you've read, Aquila has been going through and wanting to be the first to find the salmon so that they can eat, for the first time in a long time. Mm-hmm. So it's basically her just being super duper determined to do something. So that's what tenacious means.
And cheerful. It is getting on my nerves.
Even Vega doesn't like that.
Yeah.
No.
Even sea stars and brainless urchins are chomping and chewing away. The weird thing is that sea stars are related to urchins.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
Yeah.
But then yet, urchins are more of a problem than sea stars. Because of the unkelped force.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a youngling, I thought Great Mother knew the sea down to its last drop. I thought she and Mother and all the great mothers of my kinship were the ones to call salmon out of the ocean. But the more I learn, the more questions I have. Sometimes there are so many seals and sea lions that battles are fought over our salmon. Sometimes net boats can come and take from us. Some seasons our salmon run strong, and there is enough for everyone. That's kind of a problem because, in Antarctica or Arctic, polar regions where penguins and stuff, whatever, they need fish, and then the people take it away from them. They travel all that way just to get a lot of fish.
You mean the fishers,
yes,
the actual boaters? And,
yes.
Okay.
Because they're trying to get fish for stores and stuff. That's what I think, or for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mostly it's to sell it. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the salmon come late, or only make a few home. Or only a few make it home. No one can say why. I move toward her, toward the deeper part of the passage, and feel a little thrill as the bottom drops out of sight. I love depths. I'm not especially fond of the spiky crabs. Excuse me. Who sidewalk around down there on all those legs. Squid, also not my favorite. Again, too many legs. But I love to tell spooky stories about what lurks beyond the reach of sunlight. The same stories that Aquila told me when I was young enough to believe she knew everything. How come sometimes things or people get weirded out by things that move weird, or what she said, too many legs?
I think that's something common in a lot of people. It's the unknown. You don't understand something.
Yeah.
Or you don't know what it is.
What's its
purpose, or if you don't understand what it is, or is it poisonous? Is it not? All those questions go through your head. So when you don't understand something, it always leads to some level of fear, I think.
Some of the stories were so scary we would both hide under our mother's flippers afterward. Mother would make her comforting thrums. Nothing hunts us, she would remind me. But Great Mother always said, there are more things in the ocean than I have seen. I love to imagine that what fearsome creatures lurk in depths. Unseen in the depths. Some unseen for hundreds of seasons. I was about to say sunscreen. I was like, what? I long to discover what one of my kinship has ever seen. To find something that so tiny that we have overlooked it, or so deep that our life it lives by a glow of its own making. On the shore, just ahead, I can see piles of rectangles and streams of land boats, the roosting spot of a huge flock of humans. Our gathering place is on the far side of this human roost. 2 seamounts, tall and slender, mark the spot. All the families of my kinship have come here to watch the salmon return for as long as the great mothers can remember. The faint taste of saltier water from the ocean reminds me of winter days spent along the stormy coast. We are close to the gathering place now. When I send out my click stream, I can see the faint shadow of many orcas all swimming together ahead. I cannot wait to be with them after the long season apart. I call out to them. Before I can answer, a power of earth shakes the very stones of the sea. The first jolt hits like a punch of lightning into the water. What was that? I shout, turning toward Aquila. She swims to my side and tucks me under her flippers. I am her own baby. I am her own baby. Another jolt. A low grinding sound so loud I can feel it on my skin. Little sand hiders from bottom fish float up from their hiding places and hang in the water, too shocked to swim away. Bubbles whoosh upward as if some monstrous thing is breathing under the bottom of the sea. The water has a sudden bitter tang. I hide in Aquila's shadow, afraid to come up for air. The bubbles stop rising as abruptly as they began, and the grinding of rock against rock stops a moment later. Aquila and I rise side by side for a breath, and another. It's just the power of earth, Aquila says. She sounds as shaky as I feel. Fish hang in the water, stunned. Little sea shakes happen sometimes. I have felt them before, but this one sounded different. I had never seen bubbles come out of the bottom of the sea. The earth itches, just as we do. Aquila recites the story Great Mother told us when we were both small. It rolls and rubs against rock as we do, and sometimes bits of it break free, just like we shed old skin. There is pleading to her voice. She needs me to believe the story so she can too. I am not sure what I believe, but a familiar ache in my chest prompts me. To breathe. Above water, everything looks the same. Eagles soar, boats churn this way and that. Ashore, among the piles of rectangles, little land boats roll along like always. We should keep going, I say. When I said it sounded like shh. Mm-hmm. No. Altair will be frightened. Aquila agrees before I have a chance to say Deneb too. My brother acts brave, but he is the only 20 seasons old. And Aquila is 40 seasons old, she said.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. I was wrong to leave him. We have not gone far when Great Mother's call reaches us. I am Sierra of the Wormwood Kinship of Great Salmon Eaters. I am Artura, daughter of Sierra. Mother calls after her. I am me, Altair squeaks, eager to join the game and all out of my turn. I leap for joy. My family! Others called out their names. Mothers and sisters first, then brothers and sons, except for Altair, who chirps me nonstop. I hear my mother's sister, Aunt Nova, and Great Mother's 2 older sisters. Their daughters and sons call out. I check their names against my memory. Are they all here? A few moments later, I watch much farther away. I can hear the voices of my kinship still traveling from the ocean. I am Ganymede, daughter of Europa, great daughter of Lo of the Wormwood Kinship of Great Salmon Eaters. I am Phoebe, daughter of Titania. I am Mimas, son of Phoebe, great son of Titania, of the Wormwood Kinship. They have survived another cold season and come home to us. They are not my traveling champions. Companions. Champions. But they speak my language, and we belong to each other. Though I do not see them every season, I feel stronger and braver when we are together. Aquila and I reach the gathering place. Altair hurries to his mother's side and pokes at her belly for milk. He is long past drinking his food, but still young enough to ask for comfort milk. A few quick swallows, and he is as cheerful as ever. Deneb peels away from racing with his cousins. He swims around me, stroking my sides with his flippers. He rubs his head against the tender places on my chin. Sorry, I whispered to him. I nudge him to go back to his cousins, but he sticks by my side as if to make sure I do not wander off again. Our kinship holds the long dance each year in honor of the return of salmon. At first, we swim toward each other in long lines. Then the leaping and spinning and splashing began. Deneb loves this part best and is keen to show all of us how much he has grown. We tell stories of our travels and wild adventures and narrow escapes. I overhear the wayfinders comparing today's sea shake to ones from generations past. I am relieved and proud to hear the old tales. We have endured hard things before. No power of the earth will stop us from gathering. In all the hubbub, Great Mother comes to Aquila and places a flipper gently on hers, as well done. You have found the way. Great Mother does not scold me for going off alone. She never scolds, but I feel the sting of what she has not said. I made a mistake. I only thought of how fast I could swim. I only cared about what my mother's needed and not what my baby cousin was strong enough to do. Not what not what was best for my whole family. Wayfinding is a privilege, but it is my birthright too. I want to be worthy of it someday. It's chapter 5. So, Mommy, I have some questions for you.
Okay.
So, what happened in this chapter?
So, in this chapter, it sounds like first Aquila was, leading Vega because, again, she was being tenacious.
Yeah.
Trying to be the first to find, like, the Chinooks and the salmon that they love to eat. That kind of started off the story. So, it seems like her and Vega were kind of going in that pursuit. Then something crazy happened, like some sort of I would say, it wasn't necessarily an earthquake, but it was some sort of tremor that might have been like under the ocean floor.
Or maybe it was some kind of crash.
It could have been, but remember, I think before I was telling you that sometimes in the ocean they have like these big tubes, right? That they have in the ocean, and these tubes.
Some of these tubes are like from, like when we flush the toilet. When it goes out into the ocean, they filter it.
Yep, that, and then sometimes it's oil, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes that the tubes, when it's holding the fuel or the oil that goes into our cars, and it basically allows like people to use like big machinery and things like that.
Yeah.
And so sometimes those things can have a malfunction.
Yeah.
They can crack, because of pressure of the sea floor.
Yeah.
Things like that. And then it can let out toxic waste and toxic chemicals.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like, again, we don't know, but it sounds like that was something that happened because once it happened, it was like, I think they were saying something in here like the water tasted different or something once it came out, and then these bubbles came out from the ocean bottom floor, and then from there that was just there it is. It says the water has a sudden bitter tang. So the fact that it said that something like that happened.
Yeah. So
those kind of things, it feels like there might have been some sort of pollution that happened because of that tremor. And then from there, they introduced more members of the family, like more of the extended family. Towards the end, we got Aunt Nova. We got... after that, they were still traveling, and they Vega heard other voices from her pod.
Yeah.
And so they were talking about, I am Ganymede, I am Phoebe, I am Mimas, and so on.
I didn't hear them at the beginning, I don't think.
No, they weren't at the beginning. I think they kind of met up with them as they were traveling. They have Syria, or not Syria, but they normally say that.
Syria.
Well, they say that when they are introducing themselves. So it just seems like it was kind of a lot of things going on in this chapter, but to me those were the things that stood out.
What was the end of this chapter? Like, what happened at the end?
It sounds like Vega was not she thought that when she met back up with her family, because she left them, I think it was around chapter 2, I think. So it sounds like she thought when she saw Great Mother was going to say something, to her about her leaving. But she didn't. She was very, calm and, respectful of not losing her temper with Vega. But it seemed like Vega, even without being scolded, learned her lesson.
Yeah. And... well, like, they met up with the family and stuff. Like, they found them,
Yep.
So, one more question.
Yeah.
Why did Deneb not leave Vega?
Well, I think, just like I think it was, chapter 2, when Deneb was, he was like kind of talking about how he respects his sister as becoming the next Wayfinder. So I think that was part of it, like him just respecting like her position of being the older sister and the Wayfinder that she's becoming. But then it says Deneb loves this part best and is keen to show all of us just how much he has grown. Also, he was playing, I think he was playing
playing with cousins.
Yep, he was playing with his cousins and with Vega, I believe. He was doing like little things to play around and stroking the sides and stuff like that. But I think it's just out of that pure respect for Vega that he just doesn't want to leave her side because she's his big sister.
Well, that's the end of chapter 4.
That
I
was
hope
a great
you guys.
one.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, they found the family and stuff.
It's getting good.
Yeah. So, I hope you guys enjoyed chapter 4. We'll see you in the next video for chapter 5. Bye.
Bye.